What's up, y'all? It's your girl Jazz. Happy Friday. All right, so let's get into it because I promised y'all that I would begin the review of Zatima. Now, I don't watch this show probably a million times, but now that I have my own YouTube channel, I promised my viewers, my subscribers, that I would review the show. So let's get into it. I'm only going to review like the first couple of episodes, especially since both seasons are out. And we'll do it like that. I review the first couple of episodes and then review the next couple of episodes until we get caught up. Especially since I don't know when we don't know when season 3 is dropping, so we gotta kind of make it up as we go. But anyway, let's get into it. So backstory for those of you who do not watch Zatima. Zatima is the spinoff of Sisters on BET. Zac and Fatima is the couple. They met on Sisters, got together, got serious, and now on the Zatima show, they are serious, and the show comes on with them moving in together. So they, like I said, on Sisters, they got serious, fell in love very quickly. Zac got his house and stuff on Sisters and asked Fatima to move in with him on Sisters. And then in Zatima, we see it, we see everything playing out, and we kind of see their relationship playing out, their bubble and stuff playing out in Zatima. So let's see, what else do I want to say before I kind of get into it. At the start of Zatima, it actually picks up immediately after the end, if you pay attention to the timeline, because sometimes the timelines can get confusing. But now, this is just my opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. But in my opinion, I think that it picks up, as far as timelines go, it picks up immediately after the end of season 4 of Sisters. Okay, so season 1, episode 1 of Zatima, it picks up immediately after season 4 of Sisters, right? So the episode starts off with Zac and Fatima at Fatima's apartment. I ain't gonna lie, I missed that apartment. I missed that apartment. So I miss Fatima's apartment. And the reason I miss Fatima's apartment is because they were happier when Fatima had her apartment. Nobody knew where Fatima stayed. Nobody knew where Fatima stayed. Nobody could just pop up on them. Karen couldn't just come cry her eyes out on Fatima's doorstep. Cause and Heather couldn't just come with a baby on Fatima's doorstep. Nobody knew where Fatima stayed. So at Fatima's house, it was just them and only them. But anyway, Zatima picks up at Fatima's apartment. It's clean. She's literally, she made the decision to move in with Zac. And so, they're happy about that. And, you can tell that there's some apprehension there. In my opinion, she didn't really want to do it, but she also loved Zac. She loved Zac enough to do it. She loves Zac. So I saw a few things in that scene. She didn't really want to do it, and it's not that she didn't think that their relationship wasn't gonna work, but she didn't really think that they were ready to move in together. But she also loved him enough to move in with him. So she did that. And they were talking about it. She was a little sad to give her apartment up because it was hers. It was her apartment. It was hers. Nobody could take that away from her. That, nobody could, if they broke up, what I'm saying? If they broke up, she couldn't, if they broke up, her living with Zac, she'd have to leave Zac's house and wouldn't have nowhere to go, right? Or, would have to come back to her apartment. And her apartment, is hers. She kicked Zac out. However it works out, it's their business. But I'm just saying, her apartment is hers. It's something that she has to her name. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, they have a conversation on what she's gonna do with it, if she's gonna totally give it up, if she's gonna rent it out or whatever. She told him she's gonna rent it out because she wants to have a little passive income. He's like, what you mean you're gonna rent it out? Because Zac is kind of wanting her to trust completely in him, because he's like, I got us. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the men, he's one of the guys, he's the, typical guy that feels like providing financially is the only thing that you have to do to ensure that your woman is taken care of. You know what I'm saying? And because which I get it, because Zac has never had to from what we've seen, Zac hasn't provided financially for anybody. This is the first time that Zac has been in a relationship where he has been the breadwinner, where he's provided, where he has done all the things. You know what I'm saying? So he's a little hyperactive. He's a little overstimulated, if you will. But you can tell this is something that he really wants to do, because he's never done it before, so you can tell he's excited. But anyway, Fatima, so they have a little conversation. He was like, you don't think this is gonna work? He kind of gets offended, and he's like, you don't think that this is gonna work, do you? And she's like, no, I didn't say that. Which in my opinion, that's something that they need to talk about, that they've never talked about. You know what I'm saying? They both, I think that there's a little bit of abandonment there with both of them. In some ways, when one does something, the other one feels like the other one immediately goes to, you don't love me no more, or you know. But anyway, we'll get there. As I go along with the review of the episodes, we'll get there, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But anyway, so they get to talking, and she's like, it better be, she was like, this better work out, because if it don't work out, you're gonna have some issues with me. You know how they get, and that. And one thing I love about them is no matter where they are, they can go from serious to playful, and that playful can turn into them being all over each other, kissing, touching. Collectively, I love that collectively their love language is physical touch. I love that about them. I really do. I love that their playfulness is physical touch. I really do. I love that. And I love that in that moment they went from, talking about, what you about to do? Well, I'm going to work, and then I'm gonna go kick it with my friends. And then he goes, I'm gonna go play basketball with my friends. And to me, this is where their relationship, this here ended up breaking, if you will. This here to me said that I said this is gonna either make or break them throughout the whole season when they introduce the friends. But anyway, let me keep going. So they both said that they were going to go out with their friends. And then she was like, and I'm gonna see you when I get home. And he was like, okay, I like the way that sounds. And so then they left. He was like, yeah, let's get started on the Zatima chapter. And so, they left. They left or whatever. Then the theme song came home. Hey, that theme song is perfect. Okay, I love the theme song. Okay, love it. You hear me? Love the theme song. But anyway, comes back on, and Fatima goes out with her friends. We see this is where her friends Angela and Belinda are introduced. Angela and Belinda, we find out these are Fatima's best friends. They've been her best friends for a good 20 plus years, right? So come to find out, Fatima hadn't been going around her friends and had been ghosts for weeks. This is where we find out that this is like the beginning of her and Zac's relationship, where they, and y'all know how it is in the beginning of a relationship. When you first fall in love with somebody, you pretty much inadvertently cut everybody off, and you ain't worried about nothing but them. You know how it is when you first in love, right? So that's how it was. And her friends called her out on that. It was like, you've been ghosting us for that dude you talking to, and we know all about him. So question number one, and y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, and y'all let me know what y'all think and put y'all thoughts in the comments. Question number one, how did her friends know all about that dude, meaning Zac? That's question number one. Question number two is when I lost my whole train of thought. Question number two, when they was like, yeah, we know all about that dude, and Fatima was like, oh yeah, about that. Oh yeah, about that. And they was like, all about that. When are we gonna meet him? And she was like, yeah, I think it's time, because I've moved in with him. So Angela is like, wait a minute, you've never done this before. So question number two, this is Zac. That said to me that Zac is the first person that she's moved in with. So that says to me that Zac is the first person that she's been head over heels smitten in love with to move in with. She didn't live with Ian. If y'all caught that, Angela said, you've never done this before. So, as in love with Ian as she was, she wasn't in love enough with him to move in with him. Did y'all pay attention to that? Because I did. And so, they all was like, yeah, you in love and stuff because and so Belinda's like, yeah, you pretty much been a horrible friend, because you pretty much done cut us off. You ain't been talking to us and stuff because you've been following up behind that dude. And Fatima was like, I ain't been no bad friend. Angela was like, girl, own it. And so Fatima was like, yeah, I have been. And it was like, oh, and she admits it, right? And so they was like, okay, we want to hear all about him. And Fatima was like, yeah, I'm gone. He is that dude. When I tell y'all, this dude got it. And they was like, well, where did you meet him? And she was like, I met, she told him how she met him. She told him. So this is another thing that stuck out to me during that conversation, when she was like, I met him at Chain Breakers. And Belinda was like, hold on, he a convict? And Angela was like, hold on, whoa, you don't date. This you gotta be serious, because you don't date dudes like that. This ain't something that you do. Like you typically you date dudes with status. Typically you date dudes with money. Typically you date dudes that got some oomph to them, right? And so that stuck out to me too, because there is something about Zac that intrigued Fatima enough to want to get to know him, want to know him, want to fall in love and want to get serious with him. Because like I said, and her friends actually proved it. Fatima hasn't dated a man of Zac's caliber. You know what I'm saying? And so, which was interesting. But anyway, and so they asked when they were going to meet him. And of course, she was like, she thinks that it's time. So they briefly talk about, setting up a dinner date or whatever. And then it switches to the basketball court, and we see Zac's friends. This is where we see Bryce, who was an Asian guy. And of course, if you follow the sisters timeline, Bryce is who, oh goodness, what's that man name? Jake. Bryce is who Jake was in Sisters. Jake was the black guy who worked with Gary, who was helping Zac in Sisters. dude that played Jake was actually supposed to transition and be in Zatima, but stuff happened and he didn't do it. And the guy who plays Bryce is playing Bryce. But anywho, so Bryce, Tony, and Nate. Tony and Nate grew up with Zac. Okay, so they're talking and, you know, me and banter, all of that stuff. Nate is married, and of course you got Tony. Tony is single. Tony had later on we find out that Tony has a few barbershops and stuff. And of course, you know, Bryce is in stocks, and he's actually helping, of course, you know, he's helping Zac prep for SEC stuff and all of that. Right. So they're talking and, you know, all of that. And Bryce lets it slip that Zac is seeing somebody. Tony and Nate didn't know that. Bryce let it slip. You know, Bryce let it slip that Zac is seeing somebody and he's serious about her. Zac go ahead and, you know, let the cat out the bag that him and Fatima have recently moved in together. Nate is like, yo, what you doing? You know, Nate is like, yo, you know, what you doing? You know, you literally just recently got out of a serious relationship with Karen. So, and also we find out through Tony and Nate, you know, that when Zac gets serious, when Zac is impulsive, you know, Zac is impulsive, and, you know, Zac gets serious, and he gets, you know, every idea is a good idea, basically, when it comes to Zac. You know, Tony and them like, yo, you know, what you doing? You know, you getting these bubbles and stuff with these women, and instead of just slowing down and stuff. He was like, you know, and they was like, you know, you just got money, you just got your own car, you've never had your own car, you just got your own place, you've never had your own place, you know, chill out, you know. And so that happens. And so Zac is like, yo, you wanted to talk, you know, you married and you don't want to be married and stuff. You know, I actually, you know, I love this girl. And they was like, yeah, you also love Karen too. And we see how good that turned out. So that happens, and hold on, y'all, I had to drive. All right, I'm back. So that happens, and Nate's wife Lori pulls up and basically tell him get his narrow behind in the car, and the street lights is on and I need to go home. Oh my gosh, I like Lori. We only see her like maybe twice in season 1, but I like Lori. Anyway. Anyway, baby, Laura came to that basketball court. Boy, if you don't get your behind in this car. Anyway, so Zac gets home before Fatima. And oh wait, hold on, I'm missing a part. No, I'm not missing the part. So Zac gets home before Fatima, and Zac gets home before Fatima. Fatima gets home, and he notices that she's looking good in her dress. And he was like, dang, you look good. And she was like, oh, the hell, thank you. And so they talking and stuff. And he was like, how did it go? How did it go with your friends? And she was like, they want to meet you. And he was like, my homeboys want to meet you too. So, okay, so I want to say two things about that. I think that first of all, I think it was too soon for them to be living together, because as we found out, like I said, if you follow the timeline, they had only been together for a few short weeks. It had not been that long. You know, they had only been together for a few short weeks. So I think it was too soon for them to move in together. Number one. Number two, I also think it was not that long, and they should not have been definitely not long enough for them to be meeting. Definitely not long enough for them to be meeting each other friends. So that's two things I want to say. But anyway, Y'all let me know what y'all think about in the comments. And that's not me saying that I think that they should not have been together. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that those are serious moves, right? And yeah, it was. I just think that it was too soon. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. So anyway, Zac, Fatima is like, that, yeah, they want to meet you. I think we need to have them over for dinner. And he was like, okay, cool. I'm cool with that. And so she starts talking about, stuff that she wants to do to the house. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I love that. I love that they started talking about, things they want to do to the house. She's talking about, she wants to add a little bit of her to the house and stuff. She's talking about how she wants to paint and stuff. And if I'm honest, this actually was one of my favorite parts. My favorite part of this entire episode is when she talks about how she would like for him to paint, right? And he goes, okay, sure, she sits in his lap, and she's talking about how she wants to add a little bit of her to the spot and stuff, and he's like, okay, babe, sure, whatever you want. This tells me, that right there showed me, when people is like, when people say things like Zac is selfish, and Zac don't do nothing, and Zac, all the bad things that people have to say about Zac will literally do anything that Fatima wants him to do. And honestly, that small gesture right there proved it. When she was like, babe, I want you to paint. Yeah, babe, whatever you want. Sure, whatever it is that you want. Oh my God, y'all, and y'all probably gonna think I'm weird. The domestication of it all. I don't even know if domestication is a word, but I made it up. Judge your mama. Anyway, the domestication of it all. A woman telling her man, babe, paint the whole house. And he's, sure, babe, sure, whatever, sure, whatever it is that you want, y'all. Oh my God, all the feels, okay, all of the feels. And then she gets up all seductive like, and she's like, you tired? And he was like, what, you want me to paint the house right now? Y'all, do y'all not realize that if she would have said yes, paint the house right now, he would have went and got some freaking paint and painted the whole house right then? Zac loves that woman, okay? He really does. He loves Fatima Marie. I don't even know if that's her middle name, but I'm making it up. Fatima Marie Wilson. He loves that girl, okay? And will literally do anything and everything for that girl, okay? And earlier seasons had literally are my favorite of them, okay? Earlier moments. I hate that it took a turn, but earlier moments of them, hands down, my fave, okay? So to keep it G, she was like, no, I don't need you to paint. You promised me something earlier. And like, he literally threw this girl over her shoulder and took her upstairs and took her to bed. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. And I was like, now hold on now, BET Plus, wait a second, wait, whoa, okay, all right now, anyway, okay. Anyway, so that happened, and next morning they wake up and he got her a new car. That's what I'm saying. Zac was literally in his whatever Fatima wants, Fatima gets mode in the beginning. I mean, and to be fair, he still is. They just have all these barriers in their way blocking them, okay? But anyway, so Fatima has her dream car in the driveway, right? And yeah, it was and the way he did it was, and the way he executed it was so cute. She was like, wait, it's another car in the driveway, because the duplex next to them is also Zac's. The plan is for him to rent it out to somebody else. And so there was a car, a black car, which so happened to be Fatima's dream car, in the driveway. And so she's like, whose car is that? You about to you about to get a new tenant. We about to get that money. And he said, no, that's your car. And she was like, what? Zac? I was like, oh my God. Ah! Oh my God, yes. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And so she was like, my baby got me a new car. Ah. I was like, oh my God, y'all are too cute. Y'all are so cute. I am telling y'all, these first few moments of them was my favorite. Oh my gosh, those scenes like that be my favorite. I love it. Now I'm not saying I have a favorite. I don't have no favorite couple. I'm not team nobody. I'm not team nobody. I'm just saying cute moments like that, it make me cheese. Like, give me all the feels, like my cheeks be hurting and stuff. I'm like, oh, y'all do have the potential to be great. Those that know. Anyway. So Bryce comes over and like, look, I got a phone call. SEC is coming over. I need to prep you. All of that stuff. Then Fatima goes to the strip club, talks to Heather, tells her that she needs to be at the house at 6 p.m. And because we need to do a DNA test to see if the child is Zac's. Heather's like, I'm not coming over there until y'all give me some money. And Fatima was like, look, I know that you didn't do she was like, look, I work for a law firm, a prestigious one at that. And I did my research on you, and I know that you didn't sign Zac's name on that birth certificate until recently. So if you don't want that getting out, you need to be in my house at 6 o'clock. And I really don't think that people paid attention to that moment in the scene. This is why I'm saying that even with everything that has came out now in later seasons and stuff like that, this is why I'm saying that I think that it's a possibility that Zac probably is not Michael's dad, because how did Heather even, if it was a one night stand and stuff, and Zac was drunk, how did Heather even know Zac's last name? Okay, that's first of all. Second of all, see, it's too many question marks. And y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, okay? Please let me know what y'all think. Maybe I think too much. Do I think too much? That's cause that's a possibility. It's possible that I think too much. Anyway. So nighttime rolls around because they did decide that they were going to do dinner. And Bryce was like, Zac was like, well, come by the house tonight because you can help prep me then. He was like, well, no, I'm doing this dinner thing with my girl. And Zac's like, oh, okay, cool, because I'm doing dinner tonight here, so maybe we can do it tomorrow. So nighttime rolls around. Zac and Fatima, they're prepping the house and stuff. Zac is kind of antsy because of the SEC stuff. Fatima's trying to get him to calm down. He tells her that he wishes that he never would have gotten involved with the stock. And for those of you who don't know, Zac got involved with insider stuff. I'm trying to use my words wisely because of YouTube, but I'm pretty sure you guys can use your imagination. He got involved with insider stuff, and he basically invested he basically got a tip. He got a tip from a woman, and that woman is the wife of a senator. She told him some information, told him where to put his money, and she was gonna give him the money to do it. He didn't do that, but he made mental note of the information that she gave him, and he used his own money to do it. And because he's the wife of a senator, that made it insider. Blank. Do with that information what you will. Anyway. So, and Hayden found out about it. And ran his mouth and called SEC people and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what happened, and that's why Zac is scrambling. Anyway, so he tells Fatima, I wish I never would have did it. And Fatima was like, yeah, I understand that. I understand. And she basically was like, that's because you a good guy, you know. Which I agree. Him feeling bad about the fact that he did it shows that Zac has good character. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. See, people be saying that, oh, Zac is horrible. Zac is all this stuff. But Zac having conviction about stuff that he does wrong, whether, about stuff that he don't get right, shows that he has conviction. Shows that he's not a bad dude. He don't always make the right choices. But he's not a bad dude. But anywho, and she was like, she was like, let's not talk about this now. He said, yeah, fine. We can talk about it later after I go to jail. And she was like, you're not gonna go to jail. You're not gonna go to jail. We got this. We're gonna get through this. I told you I was riding with you, and I'm gonna ride with you. You got this. You're smart. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. So Angela pulls up. Come to find out, her boyfriend is Bryce. And so all four of them are sitting down. Zac and Fatima get the kissing and stuff. Angela's like, oh, I love this. This is so sweet. Zac, you gotta know that Fatima has never been like this with nobody before. And on one hand, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But then on the other hand, I'm like, Angela, girl, we all done probably said this to our homegirls, dude. Cause dude said to they dude's woman. Hey man, I ain't never seen him be like this with nobody but you. It just be lying. They be lying, don't they? They just be lying, man. Hey man, I promise I ain't never seen nobody. He don't talk about nobody. He ain't never talked about nobody the way he talk about you. And just be lying. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, so they sitting down talking and stuff, and so Angela, I think it was either Angela or Fatima. Either one of them was like, where's Belinda? And it was like, oh, she should be pulling up. So Belinda pulls up, and Zac opens the door, sees that it's Belinda, and he closes the door real fast. And Fatima was like, Zac, who's that at the door? And Zac was like, God, dog. So opens the door, Belinda comes in, and Belinda's like, oh, this the dude that you talking about? And Fatima was like, y'all know each other? Belinda's like, yeah, we smashed. I was like, oh. That's how episode 2 ended. Now, I do not think that Belinda should have did that. I personally think that Belinda should have kept it G, and maybe her and Fatima have a conversation privately. That's not something that you blurt out, especially the fact that they were in Fatima's new house. She knows that her friend just moved in with this guy. She knows that her friend is happy and stuff. I don't feel like you blurt that out in front of everybody. Or maybe give Zac the chance to tell. Maybe give Zac the chance to tell Fatima. But the fact that Belinda, her best friend, blurted that out in front of everybody, I think that kind of showed that she wanted to embarrass Fatima. But anyway, y'all let me know. I'll dig a little bit deeper on Belinda's character and what I think about Belinda's character when I review episodes 3 and 4. And let's get into it. I'm excited to journey Zatima with you guys. And do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I love y'all in real life. Have a happy Friday.